All right, Paul, I got these people. They're with me. What do I do with them now? Well, let's shift now into part 2 of this teaching. A few things I want to show you. Real discipleship in the Bible is trifold. Okay, it's triune, okay, in its being. Unfortunately, in the West, oftentimes we think that because somebody's gone through a discipleship course, they've been discipled. But that's only a third of the picture of discipleship. Discipleship in its biblical form is 3 things. It's tell them, show them, let them. Those are the 3 component parts of true biblical discipleship. This is the reason why it can't be done arm's length. It's got to be done up close. Tell them, in other words, and this is the teacher coming out of me. Most of you may or may not know that I'm a licensed teacher, 8th grade through 12th grade, composite social studies. I am a principal certified in the state of Texas, early childhood through 12th grade, and certified as a superintendent, early childhood through 12th grade. So I'm literally equipped to run any school district in the state of Texas. So I'm a teacher at heart. So we're talking about the lesson cycle. When you're teaching anybody anything, there's 3 parts to it. And the first part, tell them, pedagogically, we call this direct instruction. This is the theoretical concept. It is teaching and explanation. We see this in Luke chapter 4, verse 18, where Jesus declares, when we're talking about him modeling deliverance in this case, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, for he's anointed me, in this version, to set the oppressed free. Jesus here is announcing his mission. He's explaining deliverance. He's explaining healing. He's explaining the reception of God's power. It's theoretical. The application of this in our context is that, yes, we have to teach theology. We've got to explain the purpose and the mission of the work. We've got to give theological and theoretical verbiage to go with the conceptual understanding of the call. We give instructions that lay the foundations for the subsequent imitation that our disciples will mimic us in doing the work of ministry. But beyond telling them, that's the class. That's the discipleship class that many of us think, okay, I've been discipled, or yes, I've discipled them because I took them through a class. Well, that's just the starting point, because after you tell them, now you've got to show them. This is guided practice. This is the apprenticeship of discipleship. This is where modeling and demonstration happen. We see examples of this in Luke's Gospel, chapter 8, starting at verse 26, where Jesus goes to the Gadarenes and he casts out the devils who go into the swine, who jump over the cliff and die in the bottom of the cliff. We see here Jesus modeling deliverance. We see it again in Mark's Gospel, chapter 9, where Jesus rebukes the unclean spirit who is violently tormenting the boy, and he gets the boy free. He's showing them. He says in the tell them portion, he says in Luke 4, hey, I'm here because I've received power and authority from the Heavenly Father to bring liberty to those who are captive. He's telling them then, but then he demonstrates that in the Gadarenes. He demonstrates it by casting the devil out of the boy who was violently torn by those spirits. He's showing them in actual practice how this works. So if you've got people that you're discipling and they never go into the lab with you to learn how you craft a sermon, if you never take disciples into thorny meetings and tell them, listen, bring you in here, you be a fly on the wall and just listen, because I want you to see what I'm doing. We talked about it theoretically. Let you see it in practice. I like to use the analogy of making roux. I'm a good old Creole boy. I'm a Texas boy, but all my roots are in Louisiana. On my mother's side, they're those high yellow Creole people with straight hair from the swamps of Louisiana. My dad's folk are dark-skinned, curly hair, cotton-picking folks from northern Louisiana. I want to talk for a minute about my Creole roots. I'm a real gumbo snob. I believe in good gumbo. I know how to make good gumbo. I don't eat everybody's gumbo. There's only about 2 restaurants on the planet whose gumbo I think is worth eating. I'm a gumbo snob. And one of the keys to making gumbo is making a good roux. And I don't let everybody come into my house, much less into my kitchen, much less stand next to me. Let me show you how we make this roux. I don't teach everybody that it's equal parts fat or oil and flour, and that you got to stand there and stir that pot and never walk away and don't let anything scorch. If I'm going to teach you how to make gumbo, I don't want to just give you a recipe. I'm going to say, if I'm training you, discipling you in gumbo making, come on into this kitchen. Let me show you how this is done. This is the apprenticeship where people do it with you, so that finally, after we tell them, after we show them, then we got to let them. This is the independent practice portion of the learning cycle and of the discipleship process. This is releasing and then reviewing. Understand, it's a 2-component process. It's release and then review. I'm going to let you go do it. Then you got to come back. We got to debrief about what you did. We see this in a couple of places. Luke's Gospel chapter 9, verses 1 through 6. Jesus sends the boys out 2 by 2, giving them power, giving them authority. And we see in Mark 9, 17 to 29, they go out trying to do the work Jesus sent them out to do, and they fail. And Jesus has to debrief with them and say, hey, fellas, the reason you couldn't do it, what you didn't realize, is that I was fasting and praying. Some things come out not except by prayer and fasting. This is the review and the debrief of having let you do it. What does it look like in ministry? Well, they've got to see you, your disciples, those who are called to you personally. They've got to see you leading. Hear you talk about what leadership looks like. Stand with you as you are exercising your leadership in some concrete ways. And then you've got to give them an assignment, something practical. And here's the problem with this. You're running the risk that they're going to fail. And guess what? Every successful ministry is led by someone who was given the opportunity to try and a safe place to fail. It's in that context. And I really suggest that your church should be a spiritual laboratory where in a safe place, people can take the principles that you teach them, that you model for them, and go out and try, exemplify those principles and practices in a safe place where if they mess up, they can come back and learn how to fix it up, and you can be there to do any damage control you need to do. But there is no multiplication of ministry. You will always be exhausted, exerting yourself, trying to do everything until you buy into biblical discipleship. Go up on the mountain, look in the crowd that God has given you, however big it or small it may be, pick those you want. Test them and see if they'll come to where you are. And when they're there, give them some power, some instruction, some authority, and give them an assignment. This is the selection process. And in the process of discipling them, tell them, show them, let them. That triune cycle allows you to develop successive waves of disciples in your church. This is the completion of that church growth blueprint, getting people, keeping people, growing people. Listen, we're helping churches in Grow with Paul Harden Inc. all across the nation and in other parts of the world implement the church growth blueprint. I want to challenge you, go to my bio here on YouTube, here on this platform, and there are links there for you to either buy my book for $5. You can buy a 102-page book that's transforming so many pastors' lives. I think about 1,500 pastors have bought that book since I released it in January of 2025. It is completely revolutionizing the thinking of pastors, equipping them with the tools and philosophy they need in order to reach the harvest using contemporary best practices. You can also grab the link to watch my free Church Growth Masterclass that will teach you in more detail the Get, Keep, Grow. Or if you're saying, Paul, look, I like what you're talking about. I'm ready. I need some help. I recognize that having a mentor will be a game changer for me. Click the link in my bio to schedule a game plan call. Let's hop on for 30 minutes, hear about your situation, do some analysis of the things you need to implement, and put a game plan together that will get you reaching your city in a great way and breaking whatever your current church growth barrier is. We look to see you on the next video. Listen, do me a favor, hit the notification button, like, subscribe, forward this to somebody, hit share on your social media platforms, and stay engaged. It's my goal to release a couple of long form videos every week. My editor is breaking this down into shorts that we're releasing a couple times a day to give you bite-sized chunks of this set of systems, principles, practices, and tools that you need to reach end time harvest. I believe that we are due for the greatest harvest the church has ever seen. I believe that the era of the church has not ended. We are coming to our finest hour. Pastor, I celebrate you and the work that you're doing. Stay on the wall. Don't let anybody call you to come down off the wall. Stay on the wall. Keep doing the work you've been assigned to do. And we'll see you on the next video. God bless you.